How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all keeping well, and welcome back to another RTA League racing video in the Formula Vee Ireland Championship. Today we are at Road Atlanta for round 5, so moving into the second half of the season. If you missed the last round at Brands Hatch, make sure you check that video out before we get into this one. But as we look at the standings after that round, you can see it doesn't make for great reading for myself. Very disappointing couple of races there, and we moved down 3 places in the main standings, down into 12th, 150 points, so still very close in or around the back end of the top 10. But compared to up at the front, Travis Mawhinney leading the way, Campbell Chukwueze in second place, two of those swapping in Brands Hatch, and then Conor Mealy in third place. We are a good bit behind those lads now, and going to be tricky to try and get back up near the top end of the top 5. But more importantly, looking at the Scholarship Championship, same there, Travis Mawhinney overtaking Campbell in first and second. Jack Wynne remaining in third place, with Jean Zautavella overtaking Kevin Joyce, who didn't have the best round by his standards this season either. I think he had one or two not great races, but he's still just ahead of me down in 6th place. So in this one, hopefully we can try and have a bit of a recovery race, try and rebound back from that, have similar results that we did in Silverstone to get the championship back on track. But with all that said, let's head into what's going to be a very tricky qualifying session. So qualifying around here, if you don't have the slipstream, then you might as well just stay in the pits. I think it's worth between 1.5 to 2 seconds if you get it perfect. So if you don't have the tow, you're going to be a long way off the front, and as we start this lap, I am a little bit behind the cars in front, a bit further back than I would ideally like, but really you want the slipstream out of this chicane pretty much all the way down to the next chicane, then is where you really want it. So as we come out of there, 9 tenths behind Jean as we're flat out downhill through the S's, and that is close enough to get a nice tow through this long right-hander then, as we cut the track from what we would mostly be used to running around here at Road Atlanta, and make our way onto the back straight then as we head down towards the final chicane. Unfortunately, Jean does pull out of the way, so not getting as much of a tow as I did on my previous best lap. We're actually about 2 tenths down heading into the chicane, but this time I'm not impeded like I was on my previous best lap. Come out of there then, heading down the hill through the final corner, flat out, losing more time again, so it wasn't the best lap, but we do come across the line to improve only slightly and set a 1 minute 11.1, which is only good enough for P22, so not great there, especially when in clear air in practice I was able to do a quicker time than that even. So even with the bit of a slipstream, I was still slower than not having any slipstream, which isn't great, and just shows it wasn't a great lap by myself in the very few corners where it matters around here. But it is what it is. It's going to be a very close couple of races around here, and have to try and make the most of the opportunities that present themselves. For the start of this one then, on the outside for the final turn,
green flag,
there's so many cars, and the start line is very close to the final corner. We're starting around the final turn up the hill, and as we go green, we get a good start, immediately cut to the inside line, taking the shortest route possible, and along with the slipstream of Lawrence as we manage to get past Ross Wheatley before we get into turn 1. Carrying a lot of speed there,
You're in the middle.
nearly try and make it 3 wide there with Lawrence and Ronan, but we back out of that. There's a crash up ahead in the chicane, so we get past Ronan heading into turn 2 and past 1 or 2 more cars as they come together, as now we head down the hill. Vitally still within slipstream range of the cars ahead, and we're all in one big long train. In the mirror behind Ross Wheatley, he is closer to me than I am to Lawrence, so he is going to get a better tow than I am as he pulls to the outside line. Luckily we get the tow off of Lawrence then, and Ross does back out of it before we get into the braking zone of this chicane. braking a bit earlier than usual, making sure not to run into the back of Lawrence. We get a good run out of the chicane, pull alongside coming over the crest of the hill, and as we plummet down to the final corner we have the inside line, the shorter route, and we're getting the slipstream off a couple of cars up ahead, and we're going to have the inside line for turn 1 again to get past Lawrence, who backs out of it there as there's a car off. There's a few cars, there's a big incident there in turn 1, so luckily we managed to avoid all of that, going side by side now with Darragh O'Connor into the chicane. Have a bit of a snap, but luckily we don't make any contact and we get the move done. So a very eventful opening lap and a bit here in race 1, and now we're looking to try and get back within the tow of Emma Dempsey. We are just about within tow range, but we're so far back and just on the edge of it that with her getting a better slipstream of Kevin Joyce ahead of her, we are going to be losing ground, and we're going to be losing even more ground now as we're going, I think, 3 wide into the chicane. Darragh O'Connor down the inside, we leave him space. Lee Cogan also having a look, but we managed to hold it around the outside of him as Darragh gets past. And I was pretty confident of my pace in clean air, so I didn't mind maybe getting ahead of Darragh and see if I could pull us along, but really I just wanted to try and work together in some capacity to see if we can catch up to Kevin and Emma up ahead. So through turn 1 with the outside line, you can see there we're after dropping back about a second more to Emma than we were at this stage on the previous lap. Jumping ahead a little bit on lap 3 then, I could see in the mirror that Darragh wasn't going to go for a move. He's looking to work together, I think. Jan wasn't. He had a little bit of a look with his nose down the inside of the chicane, which is going to lose us more time because I can't take the optimal racing line. So there's some drivers in the field who are looking to work together, some who aren't. Jan at this moment in time was more interested in just trying to get ahead himself. So into turn 1 there's somebody off in the wall and in the gravel as Jan gets past down our inside. Side by side with Darragh, but like I mentioned, seems like he's okay to work together, so he backs out and lets me slot in behind Jan, who later on the lap then. I get a bit close a bit too early on this straight, so don't get the best slingshot that I really could, but we do carry more speed heading down the hill, and now he backs out, so it didn't seem like he was looking to work together, but with how he just let me through there, be able to take the racing line, maybe he is. But then make a bit of a hames of it, run wide on the exit, and Shan managed to get back past once again. Darragh on the inside too, so we don't really have much of a choice other than let him go and just slot in behind and again see if they can try and work together a little bit. At this point we've lost so much time to the cars ahead, it might be worth our time just trying to battle amongst ourselves and see if we can get what we are fighting for, the best is P11 in this train, so see if we can get that, which would be a pretty good result considering it started down in P20. On lap 6 now, we get a really good run on Darragh and Jan. We split in between the two of them. Lee Cogan is also having a look nearly 4 wide there for a second. As we get past Darragh and Jan, Lee goes down the inside. Goes a bit deep than what you would ideally like, so we get a good run on the exit, nearly run into the back of it there. Definitely not foreshadowing or anything for later in this video, but we managed to get past down the inside of the final turn as we go on to lap 7, so I think there will be one more lap after this one, so at the end of this lap we will get the white flag and then it will be all out fighting to see if we can finish at the front of this train. Skipping ahead to the chicane once again then on lap 7. This is where all the action is happening once again. Lee going down the inside. This time he gets it a bit better and we don't get a good enough exit to try and get back past straight away. As we come through the final corner, we're actually going to have another 2 laps, so I wasn't wrong there. This isn't the final lap, we have this one and one more. But once again, trying to get past as quickly as possible. There's a lot of smoke up ahead. There's a car there, Pablo, on the apex of turn 1. We managed to avoid him. Kevin Joyce must have been involved in that. He's going very slowly heading up towards the chicane. I thought about sending it down the inside, but then thought better against it. Decided to stay behind for now and just fly past on this back straight. Kevin, I think if I remember right, he had some damage from a collision there, so a bit down on top end speed. Not really much he can do to try and defend against me there. After 3 wide behind heading into chicane, Jan sends it. I leave a little bit of room on the inside apex just in case he went a bit deep, but luckily he didn't, and we were able to stay ahead. On the final lap then, I think there was some battle and a bit of contact behind, so it was a very eventful race. The final lap was pretty calm. We managed to come home in a very respectable P9, so up 13 positions from where I started, down in P22, which is a very good result, I have to say. Some great battling there with a lot of the lads, and only 6 seconds behind Sean McClemens in P1, so we weren't too far back. Obviously we got a bit unlucky with some collisions up ahead, breaking up the slipstream train, but done well to recover and get the best result I really could have from that one. And obviously, as you all know, at this stage, finishing P9 in race 1 does mean we're going to have a very nice starting position up in P9 for race 2. For race 2 then, starting this time on the other side of the final turn on the inside line. So as the lights go green, we get a pretty average start, pulling into the slipstream of Emma Dempsey to see if we can get a run to get alongside heading into turn 1, which we do. Emma shifting up into 4th gear there a bit later than I did, so when she bogs down doing that, I managed to get a bit of extra speed and get past up the hill heading towards the first chicane. Slotting into line, then taking it nice and easy on this opening lap, as up ahead Dermot Toomey getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of the chicane, coming under pressure from Campto, heading down the hill and into this long right-hander. We get very close to Campto, who has a good run on Dermot, and behind me Emma gets a good run on us all. She had a bigger gap to close in when we were all not going as fast as we really should have. So I think we're 3 wide heading down into the chicane, and I decide I'm going to back out of this, try and slot in behind and get moved up on the exit. But unfortunately, I think Dermot had the same idea there as myself, and we made contact at the apex. Sent spinning into the grass and down
no damage to report.
Of the pack. Looking at a replay here with Dermot, you can see he sort of backed out of it like I did. I was expecting him and Emmett to go side by side, so I turned in a bit sharper than I would have if I knew I was going to be side by side with Dermot there. Unfortunately, made contact. Luckily, no damage for either of us as far as I'm aware. And yeah, that one definitely on me. Nothing Dermot could have done there. Unfortunately, I came out the worst of it too. Skip ahead then to lap 5, so a couple of laps later, we caught back up to a couple of cars, got past a few, had their own incidents, and we get past Ronan King there on the exit of the chicane with a bit of a switchback move. And then on the next lap, again we find ourselves with Darragh O'Connor just like in race 1, and again I'm going to try and work together with him. There's 5 or 6 cars up ahead, so hopefully we can catch up to those and get another couple of positions. The next lap then, still behind Darragh, and as you can see we have caught up to that group of cars ahead, and I decide I'm going to maybe try and have a move on Darragh so I can be the first to have a move on these cars up ahead, but not able to do it there as they're going 3, maybe even 4 wide heading into turn 1. Adam Carney is blinking, so I decide early I'm going to back out of this, not going to go for it. But then through turn 1 I see Adam gets forced wide, so I decide I'm going to try and make a move. I then get
clear, 2 wide. Clear on the left, no damage, car looks clean.
I got a better run than a lot of the cars there, and really I probably put my car somewhere where I really shouldn't have done and caused a collision there. Don't know if I really caused it, but I didn't make things any better for anyone involved, and again I came out the worst of that, so it is what it is. Unfortunately,
right side.
Wasn't really racing smart there. I saw slower cars that I knew I should have been ahead of, saw an opportunity to get past, and it wasn't really fully there to try and go for that move. But on the final lap now, we're side by side with Pablo heading up the hill into the chicane. Pablo has the inside line, so I'm going to back out,
Clear on the right.
or I was going to back out to try and go for a bit of a switchback. But Pablo tries to open up the line for that one a bit too much for himself. Comes across on me, we make contact. Go for another spin. And should have finished there in, I think it was P18 or 17. But instead we finished down in P20. So really undoing all the good work from race 1, losing 11 positions there, and in all honesty I really think I should have been in the top 10 in this one, but my own mistake on lap 1 turning in on Dermot, that really put me on the back foot throughout this race. Brandon McCotton taking the win there ahead of Sean McClemens and Jordan Kelly rounding out the top 3. Good few penalties in that one. There is a mark beside my name, but I didn't get a penalty here in race 2. But going into race 3, saw in race 1 that I am able to fight from the back up to get some good points, so hopefully we can do that again in the final race here at Road Atlanta. For the final time then, and once again on the wrong side of the final turn and
Green
on
flag,
the
green
outside
flag.
line, the lights go green, and again we pull across to the inside. Pablo behind gets a really good start there, so I have to not pull across too much, even though I wanted to get the slipstream off Emma. Pablo managed to get the jump on the two of us. He has the inside line heading into turn 1, leaving a lot of room there. Didn't want to be involved in somebody else running wide and taking me out at the start of this one, so we slot in behind Emma. Again up ahead you can sort of see Pablo wasn't fully clear of Emma there and coming across to open up the line for turn 1, just like he did to me at the end of the previous race, but luckily Emma was able to avoid that and stay pointed in the right direction. Flat out through this right-hander, and you can see there's a bit of a gap from Emma to the cars ahead, so I'm going to have a much better slipstream than she does.
Right side.
Carry that speed, go to the outside, which will turn to the inside for this chicane, and we can get through it nice and cleanly on this occasion. Braking as late as I dare, I brake a little bit too much, run in too deep,
Left side.
get a little bit of a snap of oversteer on the exit, so Emma's able to go around my outside, Ross Wheatley's able to go around down my inside, as is Sean McGoldrick, who
Clear.
there's a little bit of a wheel bang on the inside line through the final corner. So we go from trying to make one move on Emma to
Right side.
losing, not making that one, losing another 2, and now we have Lee Colgan going up the inside of turn 1. Up ahead, Ross Wheatley going off the track running wide, and because of that I have to back out to not run into him pretty much, and that allows Lee to get past me and make a move on
Right
Ross as
side.
well. So great couple of corners there for Lee.
3 wide.
Moving ahead to lap 2 then, we're down the
Clear.
inside
2
of
wide.
Ross,
Clear.
and we make contact there because Paul O'Mahony was sending us down my inside, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. If I turned in, I felt like I would have made contact with Paul,
Car on your left.
and leaving him the room meant that Ross turned in on me and we made contact, and he was sent off into the gravel. So
Clear.
unfortunate incident there for Ross and for myself, both of us losing
Right
a lot
side.
of time. But we skip ahead onto lap 3, the end of lap 3 now. You can see that Jared Thornton with the slipstream was able to break a pretty easy move down the inside of the chicane. We're fighting back straight away, carrying the speed around the outside of the final corner. We're going to be on the outside for turn 1, which isn't ideal, but we managed to keep it as tight as possible, carry as much speed as I can, and we
Clear
get
on the
ahead
right.
of Jared before going into the chicane. Jumping ahead then to the end of lap 4, you can see there's a lot of smoke as there's a big incident heading up the hill there. There's 3 or 4, maybe even 5 cars involved in that. One of them being Lawrence de Soswa, who is going slowly down the hill into the final corner, so we managed to get past him pretty easily as we're at full racing speed. He's still trying to recover. We have Jared Thornton coming back at us once again. He has the inside line for turn 1. On this occasion I'm not able to keep it as tight, run a little bit wider than I ideally would have wanted. Get a little bit of a squeeze from Jared there, but he managed to get past up the inside of the chicane. But I know that you really want to be behind coming through here.
Right guard.
Unfortunately, I'm nearly a
Through the
bit
middle,
too
3
close.
wide.
I'm not going to get the slingshot that you ideally need to get the pass convincingly done before the braking zone into the chicane. We're in the middle, 3 wide with Jared and with Lawrence. I brake
Clear,
a little
2
bit late
wide,
there,
left
have to kind of
side.
turn out because I thought Lawrence was properly on
Clear on the
my
left.
inside and kind of force Jared off a bit there, which
Left side.
have to apologise for. Didn't mean to do that, and ended up losing a place to Adam Carney then and all of that as well. But we did make one up on Conor Mealian,
Clear on the left.
who's after spinning out from the lead on that previous lap. We get the position back on Adam heading into the chicane on lap 6, and then on lap 7 we have a good battle here. 4 cars up ahead, but behind is Adam Carney,
Right side. Clear.
who runs into the back of me. Bit of a Portimao incident there for those who know about that. But
Car looks fine.
yeah,
No
I
damage
was
to report.
braking a little bit early, trying to set up an exit
right.
to get past the group of cars that were fighting ahead of me.
Clear on the right.
And Adam just going full racing speed, hits into the back of me, not expecting me to be going a little bit slower, and spins me around. We then have Ronan Keane, who
Car
is
on
a
your
lap
left.
behind, who overtook me. Then it
Clear on the
seems
left.
like he let me back past,
Car on your left.
and then at the chicane on that very next lap, Ronan's going to try and overtake me again. He has the inside line
Clear
for
on
the
the left.
chicane, goes a bit deep, so I'm setting up the exit. As we come
Car
over
right.
the crest of the
Clear.
hill,
Car
I
right.
just barely clip the
Clear
rear
on the
end
right.
of Ronan. He gets sent off into the barrier, and the reason I had a mark beside my name on the standings for race 2 was because I did get a penalty for that contact. At the end of the day, it was my fault. I did run into the back of him and send him off for a spin, but he was a lap down. He let me pass, re-overtook me, and then while we were reviewing that incident, if I remember right, he said that he was actually pulling to the right hand side to let me back past again. So I really don't understand the logic. Definitely avoidable by myself,
No
by
damage.
just
Car
going
looks
back,
clean.
but also by just using a bit of logic, like letting me pass to overtake and then going to let me back past again doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But moving along anyway, now we have Brandon McCotton, who is a lap behind, and as you can see, staying behind because you don't want to get involved with people who are a lap ahead of you. He backs out nice and early into the chicane. I was driving fairly bad at this stage, so on the exit here, we go off the track,
They're showing us
and
the
that
black
gives
flag.
us
You
our
have to drive through
15th
the pits
incident
without
point
stopping.
of how bad this
Right
race has
side.
been. So
Clear.
we do get a drive-through penalty with that, and didn't make a whole much difference to the race at the end.
Come in for the black flag.
We served that, continued to circulate around for the rest of the race. Coming to the end of the final lap, we have Ross Wheatley behind, who has also been behind me for the last couple of laps, just staying in the slipstream and not overtaking since he is a lap down. It is what it is. We come across the line to finish race 3, P22. After all that then, we lost 2 places from where we started, about 40 seconds off Peter McCann, who got a very good win there. And obviously would have liked to have had a better result, but still overall a better round here in Road Atlanta than I was last time out in Brands Hatch. At least we had one good result in that first race, and after that first one it looked like I was going to be able to overturn that poor qualifying result, but things didn't work out that way, and 2 other poor results were to follow. What that means for the standings then is that we lost 2 places down to 14th. Those 15 penalty points that we got for the collision in race 3 having a pretty big effect. I think we would be in P11 if it wasn't for those, so it'd be important to try and get good results for the rest of the season, but also make sure that we keep it clean. Up at the front it all remains the same in the top 5, with Travis Mwini leading the way over Campto Chukwa, and that is reflected in the scholarship standings. 2 of those at the front. Kevin Joyce moving up into the top 3. He had a very good round here in Brands Hatch, a few recovery results in race 2 and race 3 as well. And then for myself, moving down a spot in this as well, being overtaken by Lawrence de Sazwa for P16. But that is it for round 5 of the RTA Formula Vee Scholarship Championship. Round 6 next time out will be at Okayama, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss that video when it comes out. And if you haven't already, make sure you give this one a like. But until the next one, thanks for watching and see you then.